to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. I am Margie Curry, and I'm your host today for today's session with yoga instructor Becca Impello. We want to remind you that AARP is empowering people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization with more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate on their behalf, all of them, without regard to politics. Since the pandemic began, AARP Alabama has continued to provide opportunities for people to stay engaged from home. Mindful Movement provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Becca, hello.
Good morning, Margie. Good to see you today.
Good to see you today. It's been a while since we introduced you to the audience. How about you tell our viewers who you are exactly and let them know what we will be working on today?
Great. Helping with these mindful movement classes for a little bit of time here, but you're right. We haven't really told the viewers who I am, what my background is. I'm a Birmingham native, so I grew up in Alabama, and I've been a physical therapist for about 20 years in the Birmingham area. And very early on, I started practicing yoga for my own benefit, for the mental benefits that it gave me with stress management, and just because it felt really good in my body to move in this mindful way. So I've been doing yoga and yoga therapy along with my physical therapy practice now for like I said, about 20 years. So I really specialize in helping people adapt the practice of yoga to meet whatever it is that their physical body can do and to meet their emotional and mental needs as well. So when I teach these classes here for AARP, I know that the AARP viewership and membership is very diverse in terms of lots of different ages and people with varying levels of mobility and different health issues. And so I'm always going to be teaching these practices in such a way that they're going to be accessible to almost everybody or a lot of people. So I'm always going to use a chair and show you how you might use the chair to adapt your practice. And I might even say, here's a way to make it more challenging if you feel like you can do a little bit more. And the last thing I want to say is that while this is a form of exercise for sure, and movement is certainly something we need for our bodies and for our minds, the practice of yoga is really going to emphasize the mindfulness piece and how we can use our attention and our awareness to work with our body, to work with our breath, and to gain benefits on all kinds of levels.
Wonderful, wonderful. Folks, remember, before you begin any exercise program routine, you should consult with your physician to be sure it's safe to participate. All right, Becca. Let's get started.
Yeah, so for today, I thought we would revisit some of the sun salutations. We've done these in the past in this series where we do a series of movements that we repeat maybe 3 or 4 times that get us moving sort of up and down and moving our bodies. And I'm going to show 2 versions today. I'm going to show a version that uses the chair, and then I'm going to also show a version that is down on the floor. And that's going to give you 2 very different but similar ways of practicing this sun salutation from yoga. But we're going to start with just some breathing and some warm up for the body. And so I'm going to encourage you to sit down. You could sit in a chair. You could sit down on the floor. So if you're comfortable sitting down on the ground, feel free to go ahead and take a comfortable seat on the floor or sit in any sturdy straight back chair to begin. All right. So we're going to take a moment just to bring our attention into our bodies. Anything that we do today should feel generally good for your body. It may be a little challenging at times. You may feel some stretch or some tightness, but I'm going to caution you not to do anything that feels painful, especially not in a sharp or stabbing kind of way, or that seems to be aggravating an area of your body that you know has some issues. Okay, so I'm going to just remind you about that as we go. Any movement is better than no movement, and you don't have to match what I'm doing or what anyone else is doing. Okay, so let's sit tall. Take a moment just to turn the head side to side. So here's a really good example Your movement with your head and your neck might be small because maybe there's some arthritis or there's some tightness, and that's just fine. As long as you're moving a little bit, that's great. Now, if you're able to easily turn that head really far and it feels comfortable, you are free to move that head as far as you want to take it. All right, we're going to move down and warm up some of the shoulder joint here. So make some circles with the shoulders, some big rolls where you bring them forward and then up and then back and down. Let's try to do some breathing with this one. Okay, so pause a moment. And the next time you're ready to inhale, bring those shoulders forward and up. Exhale right out of the mouth for a couple of times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. 2 more times. Shoulders up and back. Exhale back and down. Shoulders forward and up. And back and down. Good. All right, now let's circle out those wrists. Go both directions. I'm going to encourage most of your movements to be on the slower side than on the faster side. You'll get more benefit because your brain will be able to pay more attention and you'll generally make a bigger movement. All right, so let's open and close the hands now. The fingers spread and then make a fist. All right, good. Shake those arms out. We're going to make some movements for the whole arm now. So you're making a circle with your arm. Reach the arms up. And then circle them out beside you, maybe back behind you. All right. So here's another good example. You might be able to get those arms to go way up overhead and even a little bit behind you. And some of us may have some shoulder limitations, and our circle is going to be a little smaller, a little more out to the side. You can let your elbows be bent. Let's take 3 more. So you're moving your arms in the way that works for you, getting things a little loosened up. 1 more time. All right, now bring the hands up to the heart. Sit tall. I'm going to lift that breastbone up. We're going to start to loosen up the spine. So we're going to pull those shoulder blades back and squeeze, and then push forward and get a little bit rounded. Okay, so pull back. This is a good point to lift the chin. And then push forward. This is a good place to tuck the chin. So let's try and inhale as we pull back and exhale as you push forward. See if you can do this breathing in and out of the nose. In through the nose as you pull back. Out through the nose as you push forward. 3 more. If it feels good to your spine, you can make this movement a little bigger. It's okay to stay small as well. 1 more. All right, drop those arms down. We're going to do a little twisting for the spine now. So I want you to sit tall, sit up and turn to one side and let that front arm come across and see if you can grab hold of your thigh or your knee, the opposite side. So you're in a little bit of a diagonal reach across your body. You're sitting up tall through the chest. And you can take a few more breaths here and perhaps turn a little further, depending on how it feels in your body. You never want to force these twists. So that hand is helping you to hold, but it's not pulling. It's not cranking. All right, let's release it. Come back to the front. Sit tall and take it to the other side with your twist. So turn the other way, take that front arm across the body, hook onto that thigh or that knee. The other arm can be anywhere behind you. So I'm hooking it on the top of my chair. You might have it down on the floor if you're sitting on the ground. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then bring it back to center. Let's loosen up the legs a little bit before we stand up and begin working on our sun salutations. So if you're sitting in a chair, you have the option to hold on to the sides of the chair to help you sit up tall. If you're down on the ground, you might reach the floor with your hands or your fingertips, or any of us, brace those arms with a fist and lengthen them towards the floor. And then let's take one leg and bend and straighten it. If you're down on the ground, you may be sliding that foot back and forth on the floor, whatever works for you in that position that you're in. Or you could stand up and do a little bit of kicking that leg from a standing point. All right. And then let's switch to the other side. Good. We just want to get some knee movement. We're going to do some hip loosening when we stand up here in just a moment. All right. Let's all stand up. So come on up. Now, I'm going to use this chair, like I mentioned, for the sun salutation. So I'm just going to turn that chair this way for now. And you could use your chair to hold on to if you wanted to for balance, or maybe you have a wall nearby and you can hold on to that. All right, let's loosen up the hip joint. I want you to bring one knee up so you're standing on one leg. And I want you just to circle that leg around. Good. Make it a biggest circle that you can make and make it slow. Good. Go the other direction. Good. Two more. And then drop it down. We're going to switch sides. All right, so you're holding on to something, standing on the one leg. That helps that leg warm up as well. And then the other leg's going to circle around. I'm trying not to move my torso. I'm trying not to move my back or my shoulders. Just moving this leg. All right, and then go the other direction. Good. You're making the biggest motion that you can make without pain, without falling over. One more. All right, now we're going to do just a little bit for the ankles. If you feel like you want to challenge your balance, you can try and stand without holding on to anything as you circle that ankle. Of course, I want you to stay safe. So if you feel a little better with holding on to the wall or your chair, then you should do that. Slow circles, go the other direction. Good, and then switch feet. So again, maybe challenging your balance by not holding on, but stay safe and use the chair, use your wall if you want. Go the other way. All right, good. So we've moved every joint of the body at least a little bit. So we're going to move into our sun salutations again. Now, we've done them in the past. So if you've been watching these for a while, maybe you remember them. So I'm going to show the first time with the chair. And then the second time, I'm going to move my chair and show it on the floor. And then you have to choose which is the right choice for you. Okay? So make sure that if you're using a chair, that it's on a non-slip surface. It's not going to slide. Okay? Maybe you push it all the way up against a wall or a piece of furniture, and that will keep it in place. Okay? All right. So we're going to stand tall. Lift all the way up to the crown of the head. And then take a deep breath in and reach up. And then bend the knees and fold forward over the legs and take the hands down into the seat of the chair. And then lift up from there until the arms are pretty straight. The knees are somewhat straight, maybe not all the way. And then I'm going to fold it back in. All right. And then we step into a lunge, taking one leg back. Other leg is close to the chair. Doesn't matter which one you start with. You're just going to switch when we get to the other side. All right. So push into those legs, lengthening that back leg, maybe coming up a little higher. This is a way to challenge yourself if you want and bring those hands up off the chair. Maybe you stay on the chair. Maybe you reach the arms all the way overhead. All right, and then we come back to hands on the chair and step it back into downward facing dog. Okay, so this will look a little different when we're on the floor. The hands will be on the ground. It'll be a little more weight on the shoulders and a little bigger stretch on the backs of the legs. All right, and then we're going to take it into a plank position. Again, this will look pretty similar on the floor. We'll just have those hands down on the ground. Holding that plank firm up the body. The arms are long and strong. The thighs are pressing back, and the belly is pulling in. Breathe and see how this feels. Maybe you feel a little warmth building up in the body. And then we'll transition back to our downward dog, the hips back and up. And then step your other leg forward. Here's that lunge again on the other side. Maybe you work on coming off of those hands. You could go to just a fingertip. You could go to hands at the heart. You could take hands all the way up. Good, and then we transition back to stepping in, feet coming side by side, lift into that straighter arms, flatter back, and then fold it down. And then shift that weight back into the heels and slowly come up. This is called chair pose, where it looks like we're sitting back in an invisible chair. And then push through those feet and rise up nice and tall. Exhale. Hands to the heart. And we'll pause here. Now, that version with the chair, while it's certainly more accessible, it's also a really good practice. I love doing my sun salutations with the chair, and I often do them that way, even though I can get down on the floor and do them. It still gives me a really good feeling in my body and really good work. So if you want to stick with the chair, you'll follow along the same things, except your hands will be on the chair instead of on the floor. All right, if you want to try it on the floor, I'm going to show that round, and then we're going to do them 2 more times. Okay, and you get to choose. All right, so we stand tall. Take an inhale and reach up. And then those knees are going to bend, and you might have to bend them more. You can come hands to the thighs or fingertips all the way down to the floor. Maybe let that head drop. Maybe straighten the knees. This is going to work if you're more, just loosen your hamstrings. And then we step back for the lunge. So one leg steps back. These hands are down on the ground. They can stay there. Or they can walk up. You can come to the thigh, come to the heart, come overhead, just like we did with the chair. So you got lots of choices. Those choices keep you engaged, which is what we want. We want you paying attention. All right, and then we transition. We come down. Now, if you want to take your knee down to the floor in the back, that's great. You can do that. We're stepping back and coming up to downward facing dog here. The hips are up and back. Press the hands into the ground, or if you're still using the chair, press into your chair and reach those hips back and up. Take another 2 deep breaths. And then we do the plank, all right? So plank on the chair like before, plank here on the floor. You have one other choice. You might decide you want to put your knees down, okay? So you could be on your toes, or you could drop your knees down. Push nice and strong with those arms. Keep the thighs active, the belly pulling in. 2 more breaths. And then all of us push back into that downward dog again. Maybe the knees bent. All right. And then we're stepping 1 foot towards the chair or towards the hands. Make it the other leg. Now, if you're down on the ground, it might help to put your knee down first and then step the foot forward. And then you can pick it back up. Maybe come up off the floor, off the chair. Remember, these are choices that I'm showing. You could pick one and stay with it, or you could slowly progress through them like I've just shown you. All right, now we can come hands either to the chair, or to that front thigh, or the floor. Step forward, fold down. Good, lift back up. And fold down. Sit back into those heels. And then come up to your chair pose, Okay, so this is hands either at the heart or the arms reach up. And then let's slowly rise and bring hands to the heart and pause. All right, so now you've seen both. Maybe you've tried both. Pick the one that you think is the best fit for you, and we're going to do it through 2 more times. I'm going to do this next one on the floor, and then I'm going to do my last one with the chair. All right, here we go. Stand tall. Check in. Notice how you're breathing. Notice how you're feeling. And then let's try to reach up on an inhale. Fold down on an exhale. Nice bend to the knees. Take it down. And then we're going to lift back up. Hands in the chair or hands on the thighs. And then fold it down. Hands on the chair or hands on the floor. Take one leg back. Now you can stay low or you can bring the arms up. I'm going to stop at the heart this time. If you want to raise those arms overhead, you go for it. Firm up that back leg. Lift up that low belly. Maybe lift up the corners of your mouth. All right, and then we'll come back to hands down. Step into downward facing dog. Remember, maybe you put your knees down to get there if you're on the floor. All right, this time, why don't you everyone give a little wiggle in downward dog, whether you're on the chair or on the floor. Let those knees bend and straighten, the hips sway side to side. All right, here comes our plank. Looks like a push-up. All right, if you're on the floor, you have the option to put your knees down. Push nice and firm, strong arms. Hold the belly in. We don't want any part of the middle of the body sinking. So don't let it sink. Bring it up. Keep it up. And then here we go. Push back into the downward dog again. And step the other foot forward towards the chair or towards the hands. Remember, maybe you put your knee down to help you get there. Hands walk up that front thigh if you want. Maybe up to the heart or overhead. Good. One more breath. Good. We put those hands back down, maybe to the floor, the chair, or the thigh. Step in, fold in. Lift up about halfway. Those hands come up to the thighs or they stay on the chair. And then fold it in again. Shift the weight back into those heels to rise up for chair pose. So this ends up looking the same for everybody once we get off the chair, once we get up. And then rise all the way up tall. And hands to the heart. Pause. We do this little pause every time. The pause is an important little exercise for our brain to notice what we're feeling, to notice what's changed or what stayed the same. All right, we're going to do one more sun salutation. Like I said, I'm going to go back to the chair to show that version again. I encourage you to repeat these practices. You can find them on AARP's YouTube channel, and you can repeat them again so that you get a little more familiar with them. All right, last sun salutation. Inhale, reach up. And fold it down to the floor, to the chair. Lift back up. Fold it back down. Step one foot back. Those hands can stay down or work their way up. You choose. The challenge is the balance and the strength, the more upright you come. Okay, so you got to find the right amount of challenge for you today. All right, we'll transition to downward facing dog. So hands to the chair or the floor. Walk those feet back, hips up and back. Again, maybe a little wiggle here if that felt good last time. We shift into plank pose next. So shifting the shoulders forward over the hands. You can drop your knees down if you're on the floor. Firm up the belly, push firmly through the shoulders and into the hands. Good, and then press those hips back. Back into that downward dog. And then transition, bringing that other leg forward for lunge on the other side. And again, same choice here. Maybe come off the chair, maybe reach the arms overhead. Good. And then here we go, our last transition. We come hands back down. We step the back leg in. Come into that fold. And then lift back up. So maybe the hands on the thighs or the knees or the shins. They're not on the chair. And then fold it back down. Shift the weight to the heels and slowly rise up to our chair pose. And then rise all the way up tall. Bring the hands to the heart. And again, we're going to pause. Just going to notice the effect of doing that movement. What do you feel in your body? Maybe a little tingles in the muscles or the skin. Maybe an awareness of your joints. Maybe a little temperature change. Maybe an energy change. Now we're going to finish with a bit of relaxation. One of the real benefits that yoga practice can bring, the mindfulness aspects of it, is tapping into our body and our nervous system's own ability to calm and soothe. Okay, so you can sit in your chair. That's what I'm going to do. Or you can lie down. So if you'd love to lie down on the ground on your back or lie down on your bed or your couch even, you could do so. You could lie down and just get nice and comfortable. Okay, I don't want you to fall asleep. But I do want you to feel supported, physically supported with your body, comfortable, okay? So find that place for you. And then just repeat what we did at the very beginning a few times, a little gentle turn of the head. And then settle that body into stillness for a moment. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Okay, so you want to just let the vision be nice and relaxed. So you're not focusing your attention through your eyes on any one thing. You're actually trying to limit that and turn your attention inward. I want you to see if you can feel your breath in your body. And sometimes it helps to literally feel on your body with your hand. So you might take your hand to your belly or to your chest or both and just see if you can feel your breath. Can you feel the inhale rise in the chest? And the exhale soften? Can you feel the belly expand? And then draw back in. Don't try and take a deep breath here right now. I want you not to be trying hard to breathe. I want you just to be noticing your own natural breath. So you're just feeling yourself breathe in and out. And then the only real change I want you to try to make is on the exhalations. You're going to try to keep exhaling through the nose if possible. And you're just going to see if you can slow down, especially at the beginning. That's a good place to start, right? So at the very beginning of your exhale, just see if you can start to let that breath out just a little bit slower. Like the air slowly leaving a tiny little hole in a balloon. Like you're opening the neck of the balloon and just letting a little bit of air out. And of course, I want you to continue that exhale until you feel like you're completely empty of the breath. So let's try that a few more times. You're just simply trying to slow down your exhale. And keep connecting to the feeling of your breath. Three more slow breaths. Anytime we can slow the breathing down, we help the nervous system to calm down. reducing the stress response to some degree. All right, and slowly bring those hands to the heart. If you're lying down, you can stay there, or you can roll over slowly and sit up. We're just going to pause and finish with a moment of gratitude. The hands at the heart and a symbol of gratitude. Maybe bow the head. Just be thankful for your body, for all the things it can do for you. Even if you've lost some ability, you've still got plenty to be thankful for. We can express some gratitude to our communities, including AARP of Alabama, and the opportunities it gives us to connect to ourselves and others. And I thank you for being here with me, and for AARP of Alabama having me join you on these Tuesday Mindful Movements. If you have questions, we welcome them. I'd love to hear any questions you have about yoga or the movements that we do. And I know AARP of Alabama would love to hear your comments, suggestions, and questions as well.
Thank you, Becca, for that very well-needed exercise yoga session today, folks. And we thank you so much for your expertise and reminding us about what we need to be thankful for and grateful for.
You're welcome.
Everyone watching today, we thank you for tuning in. We have a commercial about upcoming events. We thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will tune in again on Tuesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time for the next session of Mindful Movement. Bye.
Bye, Margie.